This is Akimoto and I'm here at the Roman Arch of Arausio. Stay tuned! So I'm here in the modern French region of the Provence, in the modern city of Orange, and in the Roman city of Arausio. Here, just outside of the Roman city, is one really nice and particular building, and this is this Roman arch here behind me. Let's have a look here. So, this arch is special in many ways. It has three different arches, with the central one much bigger and wider. And it was outside of the city, so the actual city began just some few hundred meters behind us. We're looking from outside of the arch, and outside from the city, because this is the actual way people took when they came from Lugdunum, modern Lyon, where we have been in the last video. And they were following the Via Agrippa, the Roman road, connecting Arausio with Lugdunum. And to enter at Arausio, they had to go through this arch. And we are not totally clear, so there's a big debate about the datation of this arch. The most common datation would be at the late Augustan or at the beginning of the Tiberian period. So in the first years of the 1st century AD. The arch itself is structured into 4 columns, 3 arches, central triangular gable, and 2 architraves on top of the architrave sitting on the gable. So, from its dimensions, it is 90 meters wide, 18 meters high, and 8 meters deep. So let's start first. So for what was this arch used? So it showed the power of Rome. It was for sure the first meaning of it. Because as you would enter here into the town, you would come across this monumental building already impressed by the architectural power of the Romans. But there are many reliefs here depicting also the military power of the Romans. So, even before you would enter the city with its theater and its walls and its public housing, you were already like shocked in your face by this symbol of power. So let's have a look. So you have this central arch, two side arches. Possibly the central arch was used also by chariots, it was wide enough. And the side arch is more like for pedestrians or people on horses. From the outside you can already see 4 columns in front of it. These columns stand on the base, and then they have like an Attic base going up, and on the top they're crowned by a Corinthian cabin. The two in the center, they are half columns, so they're actually cut in half and lean towards the wall, as you can see here, while the ones at the corner, they're actually 3/4. So they are going almost just around the arch. So now let's have a look at the reliefs. What you would first see are the big reliefs just above the side arches. And these reliefs are depicting several weapons. Just a showcase of weapons, and not any weapons, but barbaric weapons. And the weapons of the Gauls that were fought by the Romans here. And obviously the Romans show here that they have won. This is why they can show the Gallic or the Gallo weapons here. What we can see are different shields, helmets, swords, and also military standards. So these animals which you can see there, there's a boar and the wolf, these are actually military standards of the Gauls. The same on the other arch, just it's not that well preserved. And then what we can see just on the first Attica. So, okay. Over the columns there's the architrave, then a gazon, and then there's on top the first Attica, which in the center has this triangular gable here. And just on the right of this triangular gable, there we have another showcase of weaponry. But this time, these are not ordinary weapons, these are weapons used for naval warfare. So what we find here are cows, masts, ship bows, and ram spawns. So obviously they are also showing their naval power, military strength here. Just the same on the other side. Then on the second Attica, so the second floor on top of the gable, there is an actual war scene depicted. In this war scene we see different Roman soldiers mounted on their horses fighting against naked warriors, and those are the barbarians. This central depiction of the war scene, there is another relief just showing 5 pieces, and those pieces are used in Roman religions. So what we can see here from the left are the Aspergillum, Legutus, Patera, Cinculum, and Litus. All those objects were used in Roman ceremonies. They are depicted here to show also the Roman pietas, their trust into their gods, and that they would worship them. So, let's enter this arch. like the old Romans would do. What we see are already floral motifs going up these pillars here, ending in this carved roof, which is made out of different astragals, and in the middle a flower with different carvings. Took a long time to do that. And we are entering now the main street, which is heading directly to Orange. And we are seeing that on the other side, that architecturally it's exactly the same. Also the main reliefs over the arches, they are the same, again depicting the weaponry looted by the Roman army. But just on top of the architrave, you can also see another war scene, which is much smaller. It's difficult to show, but it is showing again Roman soldiers, this time by foot, fighting against the barbarians and also winning, as we see some naked barbarians falling to the ground. The central relief here on this side is also interesting. On the second Attica, again, this is a war scene. Romans mounted on their horses, fighting against the naked barbarians. It's almost the same as on the other side, maybe a bit smaller. As you can see, around this central relief are those many small holes, and they were possibly used for bronze applications to contribute to the scene through bronze figures and stuff like this. With one other thing on the second Attica, just on the right, there on top, and this is showing just a woman throwing their drapery over the head. So the interpretation is unclear, but usually this gesture was meant to the appearance of a goddess. So here just the goddess appeared. Yeah, this is what you would see if you would leave the city. But this arch is not only meant to be crossed, but also to be seen from its sides. That's why we are going now just around it. Again, the architectural structure remains the same, also on the sides. We have 4 columns in front of it, with an architrave, a gaison, and a triangular gable, which is, by the way, showcasing like a Roman temple house. And in between the columns, there are 3 reliefs. And these are really nice because they're showing Roman tropaia. So a tropaion is a monument which would be erected by the victorious soldiers, just right there on the battlefield. So they were looting the weapons of the enemy and putting it on wooden stocks to show that they have won, and then to dedicate it to their gods. This is a typical sign which we already know from the Greeks, and it's just again showing this Roman victory, over whom is also depicted, because just underneath of this tropaia we find again Gallic naked soldiers with binded hands behind their back, and those are enemy captives from the war taken by the Romans. Just by the way, in the middle you see this little hole. This is from the second use of this arch. That's a loophole, because it was also used in the medieval times and later as a fortification. they built a tower on top, so it was even much higher, and they fortified the medieval city with the help of this Roman building. And this loophole is one remaining. Yeah, it's just a beautiful arch. Just here in this region, around Orange, there are many Gallo-Roman cities that are really interesting and they have really nice remainings. That's why we continue with some videos here. And the next time we see each other at the Pont du Gard. Stay tuned.